Wednesday. We'll jump right into questions with Mike Duraco.
Hey, Doug, first of all, any update on LaVisca and Brandon?
LaVisca will be out there, and Brandon will not be out there at practice. And I think Brandon's doubtful, obviously.
Okay. Dare got a little bit more work, it seemed, last weekend. Is that sort of the plan moving forward? A little bit, take a little bit of pressure off of James Robinson, or a little bit less work on James Robinson?
No, I don't know if that's the plan. I think that he just took a pretty good shot during the game and just came back from it. I think that was one of the reasons why. So James obviously be limited today, so he's in a limited mode.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Durac. We'll go to Gene.
Hey, Doug. Could you you mentioned on Monday that you still haven't seen enough of a workload yet from Gardner. Is it because his physical limitations don't allow that, or is it just because as the backup he's not able to get that workload? Could you clarify that, please?
Yeah, it's actually too much workload. So we're working through that, with Jay and Ben and Gardner to know exactly, what that workload is, and seeing, him go out there and practice and throw. I mean, that's been, that's been in my discussions, so we're trying to work through it and try to understand it.
Is it basically a situation where Mike Glennon is probably not going to have to perform pretty subpar for Gardner to get back his job as a starter?
I don't know. There's a lot of things that go into it. I mean, practice is a big thing for me. You know what I'm saying? When people are practicing and how they're doing in practice, it's you don't want to go into a game, hoping someone's going to be able to do well. And then I think so. Your evaluations are, day to day during the week, and then then obviously on game day for the players that are playing and they're being evaluated. And if we feel like someone can go in there and help our team win, then we're going to put them in there. So I think that's pretty much, the process of what's always been done.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Next team, we'll go to John Shipley.
Hey, Coach. Ben's obviously played a little bit over the last couple of weeks. How do you feel about how Ben Bartch has been just progressing through this rookie year?
Yeah, I think early on you can see, the finish in the run game. I thought he was doing a good job there, and I think like a lot of players, especially coming from small schools and not having the preseason, the pass protection stuff. You're going to get caught. I mean, it's at a much higher level here, than the run game. I think it's always one of those things that I know as a line coach and evaluating linemen, to me it's a little bit easier to project, how someone's going to be as in the run game, from what I'm seeing on tape and what I'm seeing on film, than in pass pro, because sometimes some guys are just athletically gifted better than everyone else. And then some guys, where they get away with things technically. And in the NFL, you're going to face someone that's better than you at some time, and technically you're going to be in trouble. So, but I have seen improvement from him, John. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think he did a much better job in protection last week. And I think, so he's trending in the right direction. So, I'm happy with him. I mean, he's a tough guy. He's he can move. He's a big guy. He plays multiple positions. And I think it's one of those things where, as we work our way through the season and him playing is going to make him better. And then I think we got to figure out, what's the best position for him, because he can play multiple positions.
And I was actually going to follow up with that, Coach. Just how valuable is it to have a guy like that who, you can kind of slot in at different spots along the line? Like, I know you guys have used him at right guard and now probably left guard.
Well, I tell you, it's one of the things, it's a position. It's a little bit different now that you're allowed to dress 8 linemen in a game. But when you were dressing 7, which pretty much everyone did with the roster limitations, if you're not coming into this league with a team and really have a spot, what I'm saying? Like, you're going to just walk in and be a starter, you're going to have to play multiple positions, to be up on game day. I'm not going to say you're not going to be on the roster, but up on game day. So you have to have that type of flexibility, and I think it gets overlooked. People like, well, if you play guard, you play guard, but just think about it. It's the opposite. All the footwork and the technique and the hand. So everything right and left's opposite, and it's a whole lot more difficult. And then who you're playing with. Obviously you're on the right side, you're playing with someone else left side. If you're swinging at guard, the only constant is the center. That you're working with. So there are a lot of things that you have to go through, but Ben's done a good job, for his first year, and he's trending in the right direction, which is good. And he's getting experience, which is going to help him down the road.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Sure, no problem.
Thanks, Shipley. We'll go to Gary and then John Reed.
Hey, Doug, could you expand a little bit on what you said the other day about Colin Johnson and his taking it from the practice field to the game? We saw a couple drops early during the games, but was there anything else? Was it route running that he had to improve on? Was it downfield blocking? A little bit more about what you meant about that.
Yeah, I think what happened is early on in training camp, we saw him making a bunch of plays, kind of like what you're seeing right now, and doing a really good job. And then, when we went out there and the opportunities that he had, just really didn't take advantage of it. It's a little different. I think we can all appreciate how different it is from, college and practice, and then all of a sudden now you're in an NFL game, because things are going to happen a lot quicker. So, Colin's a very bright guy. So I think he might have been thinking too much. That's one of the conversations we had, what I'm saying, Gary, where, you get on the field and you overthink things, and, you put this anxiety on yourself not to make a mistake and to make sure you're doing everything correctly and running the right things. And, it was just like, hey, you just got to get out there and play, let it loose, just go ahead and run. And that's what I meant by, carrying that stuff over from practice, because he's always done that in practice. And then just in the games early on, it didn't seem like the same type of player that we were seeing in practice on the game field. So, but now I think we're starting to see that, or you're starting to see that. So now he's starting to make those plays, and he's doing a really good job.
Is there a play in practice that you recall that really knocked your socks off, or maybe one of the most recent ones in a game? What's your personal favorite play that Collins made?
It's hard for me to pick one, but he made a lot of plays in training camp. You know what I'm saying? So, I think it's one of those training camp things where you see a guy that's, has size, that's big, that can run, that can pluck the ball and catch, and do those things. And then then you get excited, and then you want to see that stuff on Sunday, you know what I'm saying, where you scoring touchdowns and making plays. And, it doesn't always happen as fast as the coach wants or the player wants. So, he's worked extremely hard to do it. And, he constantly, will make plays, throughout practice and throughout the week.
Okay. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Gary. We'll go to John Reed and then Mark Long.
How you doing, Coach? Got yet another quarterback question for you.
Sure.
Every year you've been in Jacksonville, you've had to make a change at quarterback, even in 2017. And how much has that been a hindrance to your reign there? The difficulty of that, and just you think that has stunted some of the progress in the program over the last 4 years, and having to not have that stability?
I think anywhere you go, you know what I'm saying, John? I think anywhere you look around the league, if you're not, stable at that position, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be challenging. So, we're trying to make sure we're trying to find, the right fit, the right guy, to lead this team and lead this franchise. So, we've got guys that we just keep trying. And just keep putting them in there. But I think if you look at, teams that don't have that, it's the most important position. It doesn't matter, where you are, what coach you are. They're going to say, what's the most important position? The first one's always quarterback. I don't think it's not even close. So, it's an important position, and it's one that, we continue to keep working on and keep trying to get it right.
You have any reaction that Gardner Minshew saying he begged you and he wants to be out there playing? Any reaction to his reaction to not playing?
Yeah, I mean, I think every player, there's a lot of players that'll say, "Hey, I want to play." Whether it's practice squad, whether it's a backup role that wants to play more. I mean, Daniel Thomas, prior to him being hurt and starting to play, I mean, every week he was, Coach, I'm ready. You got to get me in. You know what I'm saying? And you want that, as a coach. You want that, competitiveness. And, it's the same thing, I would tell Daniel, hey, got to go out there and practice well and, not make any mistakes and, know we can trust you and put you on out there and perform well in practice and you'll start getting snaps. And that's exactly what happened, to a point where he started to play and go. So I think you get a little bit worried if it's the other way, you know what I'm saying, where someone doesn't want to get out there. He's not a competitor. He's comfortable in his role of maybe not playing. So, you can have all these emotions as a player. And sometimes on the outside, you'll look at it and say, oh, man, he must be really upset that he's not doing this or that. Or, but, at the end of the day, that's not how they are around their teammates and how they practice. And they're still working to get better and do it. So, and there's some guys that you would know that, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you can get a sense of that, but we don't have that issue at all. So, we're all trying to communicate. We're all trying to work through things, during these tough times. So we're just going to keep working on these guys and keep getting them better.
Thank you, Coach.
Sure.
Thanks, John. We'll wrap up with Hayes.
What about Mark Long? You missing him?
Yeah, I already unmuted.
You mentioned it before. You said Mark. You said John Reed, then Mark Long.
You put your hand down, Mark.
I put my hand down because I thought you were calling on me next, Tool. Where is Tad? Get Tad back in here.
Whoa.
It's been a long season for you guys too. You can see it.
Okay.
I love Alec.
Just imagine if I did something like that. The coach is all shook up, shaken up, change his way, change his character.
I'm putting my hand back up.
All right, Mark, go ahead.
Please call somebody a tool.
I can't believe he did that.
I can.
You don't know me very well then. I'm going to let Hayes go. You called on Hayes. I'll wrap it up.
All right. Hayes, go ahead.
Mark, I am deferring the floor to you. I will go after you.
Oh, boy. That's exciting. All right. I'm going to put my hand down and unmute. All right. Mark, listen. Hey, Doug, I got a James Robinson. Is that just preventative because we're in week 12 here or week 13 or whatever week it is, or is he banged up?
No, he took a shot. You know what I'm saying? He took a shot. He takes a lot of shots. I think that I'm not worried about him slowing down. You know what I'm saying, Mark? Like, it just happens, and you just kind of, just catch your breath a little bit and then go back out there, and then coming back this week, hey, listen, we're just going to be, we're going to limit him, but he'll be fine. I don't, he's someone like we've had this conversation before about the workload and everything, and I think he's good where he is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and I don't have a problem keeping him in there for as many plays as we need him in there. I really don't. Obviously, at that position, you're gonna, get a blow now and then depending upon what goes on during the game. But I mean, he'll be full go. He's ready to go. I mean, I'm not concerned about him.
Oh, good. Okay. You said something on your coach's show last week about his character and his heart and soul and whatnot. And I'm just curious, how did what were you kind of referring to there, and how did you figure that out about a guy in season? How do you learn about a guy like that in season?
I think it's I think both with success and failure, you know what I'm saying, with players, you can just watch them and see how they react to things. And I think you got to be guarded with both. I think if you're not doing well, and you're looking at your attitude, how hard you're working to overcome that. And I think if you're doing well, okay, what's going to happen now? Is it going to, you're going to start, cutting corners or trying to save yourself or do things like that? Or are you going to continue to keep pushing and work hard? And I think that, the one thing, probably the thing that I'm most impressed with, I would say, with James is just his consistency. I mean, you talk about, just a consistent effort, a consistent, work ethic, a consistent demeanor. You know what I'm saying? Of everything that goes on, and the greatest thing I think for a coach is to know, like, I've had players position, when I was a position coach, where, I knew that, when they came into the building, I knew what type of day it was going to be. Meaning, like, okay, this guy's ready to go. He's focused. Oh, I'm going to have to kick him in the butt and get him going. You know what I mean? James, you know what you're getting every day. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you're going to get everything he has every day. And I think, as a coach, I know, from myself, that's greatly appreciated. So that's what I meant about him. And he really doesn't have, he's focused. He's not, I try to bring up things just to try to get a feel of what's going on around him. You know what I'm saying? But I have no feel, because of his focus is just on playing and doing the best job he can. So it's a little bit unique, and it's unique, and it's greatly appreciated.
Thanks, Doug. I will secede. Is that the right word? Hayes.
I just don't want you to call me anything. I hope I gave you a good answer.
No way.
Okay.
Thanks, Mark. You good now?
Thanks, Alex. I love you. I apologize for calling you a tool publicly.
It's okay.
I often forget that these things get broadcast internationally.
All right, Hayes, go ahead.
Doug, can you describe the ways in which Tennessee has changed since you saw them in week 2 and the challenges that the Titans present?
Yeah, I still see the same challenges. I see, you got a team that's, it's big, they're strong, they're physical. I think up front, and they've had a couple injuries, but up front, their inside players are playing extremely well. They're a load in there. I think offensively, you look, they got receivers that are all, good size, can run, tight ends that can run. Obviously, we know about about Henry. He's the lead in the league in rushing. He's an outstanding back, and Tannehill's dangerous. He'll run when he needs to run, and he can run. He's a former wide receiver. We all know that. So, special teams, they've had a lot of changes, going on there. But, with the kickers, but their core guys are still strong. So, they're whatever they are, tied for first in the division, and there's a reason for that, and they're a heck of a football team. So, they're coming in here and they're coming off a tough loss to Cleveland. So we'll get the best, of Tennessee. Mike does a great job with those guys. They have a really good coaching staff. They'll be ready to go, and we'll get our guys ready to go.
Cool. Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks, Hayes. And thank you, Coach. We'll see everyone back here at 12:15 for Gruden. I just want to confirm that no one needed Vrabel over